Afternoon, everyone, to May's Coffee Talk. Today we have a fun special guest with Barbara Abeyta and Kim Stoddard. So hello, hello.
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 And those of you probably already know me because I'm all over here. I'm Amy Masters as well, your host. And so this is May's Coffee Talk, and our topic, our hot topic
Today we
is
have a
confidence. And then with confidence, how to stop comparing ourselves to others and just be our own. So I'm going to start off with what the computer says as what confidence really means. So there's two definitions, which I was shocked on. So one is the feeling or the belief that one can rely on someone or something with a firm trust. So that confidence is you can rely on somebody. You trust them to follow through with what they say. But the other part of it says a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. So that's within yourself. So confidence obviously comes from yourself, but it also is in the trust that you have into somebody else and them following through. So I thought that was kind of interesting on the part of confidence. So those of you that have not met Barbara, Barbara is well, maybe I'll let you introduce yourself of how you do your coaching. Let's get a little bit of background.
I am a certified life coach. I call myself a transformational mindset coach because I realized quickly in my journey that it all comes back to mindset, and doesn't matter what type of business that you do, what type of skill that you have. If your mindset is like on point and you're not comparing yourself and you're not putting yourself down, and not that you're living a positive life and not have any doubt, because that's not realistic. We're only human. However, that's what I do. I help kind of pull that out of you so you can be aware of what your mindset is, and that way you can shift quickly and do things that will serve you better.
Yeah, yeah. And then, Kim, you've been through a couple different salons where your confidence was way broken down, and then you had to rebuild yourself again. And then, obviously, life happened, and then you were taken away from the table and had to rebuild yourself again. So, multiple times in your life, you've had to build this self-confidence of yourself. But you had the trust of your clients because they all come back. They begged to come back. So, you get to see both sides of it as well. So, Kim, what did you do through all these transitions to keep your confidence and stop comparing yourself to everybody else and be able to get back into the workforce?
I think a lot of it that has to do with that is I've never been one to compare myself to others. And I live by that rule, because when you live by the rule of you are yourself, you are the only one who can do this. You are the only one who can accomplish what you want. You take out everybody else and you focus just solely on yourself. So when you are focusing just on yourself and not worrying about what others are doing, then it's easy to get it back, and it makes it quick. Because when you start thinking, well, how am I going to do this? I've been off work for 4 months. Am I going to come back and have, my clients still there? Or are they just going to settle with, or not settle, I shouldn't say, because that's not a word. That's not a good word. But are they going to stick with the ladies that have been doing them? Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know what? Even if they do, that's, again, their choice. It's not my choice for them. So when it comes down to it, whatever you can control and you can deal with, which you can only control yourself. You cannot control anybody else. You cannot control what happens if Mother Nature is going to rain in 5 days. You can't control that. You can only control yourself and how you handle yourself and how you approach situations. And that's the biggest thing that has helped me, is knowing that regardless of what the situation is, I can only control what I can control, and that is myself and my thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. You hit on both sides of the definition. You hit on the client still chose you after all that time because they still had the trust and the confidence in you, and that you had to have the mindset to say, I can do this. And so,
right.
Yeah, absolutely. Barbara, have you had times where you had to have that self-talk with yourself and say,
Absolutely.
Self, or we got to change our attitude. How do you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say on a daily basis, I have to have a conversation with myself.
Yeah.
Because, our minds like to wander, our minds like to, and the universe is very magical, because what the universe does is that the universe wants to know how bad you want what you say you want. And it'll sometimes put challenges and obstacles and stuff in your way just to prove how much you really, really want it. I mean, what are you really wanting to get out of it? And if you give up quickly, did you really want it in the first place? And that's a question that you have to ask yourself again. I mean, I talk to myself constantly. So yeah.
Me too.
That's all right.
Yep. I
Yeah.
tell myself sometimes I need expert advice, so I have to go with it.
I love it. I'm in the middle of doing a 6-week program called Inspire Your Desire. And it stems from last year. I put a post out on Facebook that said, if I had a magic wand and I could be your fairy godmother, what would be the one thing that you would want to learn or master in the nail industry? What I wasn't prepared for. So what I was prepared for is that they would say the baby boomer, and I'd be like, okay, here's the video. Or they would say shaping, and I'd send them Kim's video, and they would say whatever. But majority of the comments was confidence, and I thought I was not prepared for that. I thought, really, that's the number one thing they would need. And so it made me stop to think, how do you do that? And so I did a lot of research. I ended up doing an entire 6-week program out of it. And one of them that I came to was fear. The top reason why our confidence is broken is the fear, we have the fear that we won't deliver the picture that the client brought in. We have the fear of the time. We have the fear of, the conversation that might happen. We have the fear of the longevity of, will they last? And so I had put the fear into kind of some words, that fear is a feeling. It also comes with embarrassment. It comes with anxiety, but it comes with a reaction. So we'll either shut ourselves down, or we get emotional, or we get nervous, or we get shaky, or we do whatever. But really, once you conquer the fear and you conquer and you decide, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to let fear take over, that feeling turns to freedom. Mm-hmm. The embarrassment turns to excitement because you conquered it, you overdid the obstacle. The anxiety actually turns to ability, and then your reaction turns to relief. Right. And then you feel like, I can do this again. For me to build confidence in myself, because many times I've been pulled away from the desk and then had to rebuild my clientele, or we've moved or whatever. For me, I realized it was repetition. It was doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And every single job, you have to do the same thing. Even if you're a bank teller, you're doing the same thing over and over and over. Pretty soon you can get where it's no longer in your mind. Your hands just naturally do what it needs to do. And there's a system. Your clients trust in it because you're consistent, because of the repetition that you've done. Pretty soon you realize that you mastered this skill and you have no fear in that anymore, until they come in with a brand new picture from Pinterest that are stilettos and stones. And all of a sudden you go, ah! But you then have that confidence and your dignity talking to you, saying, okay, I can do this. I'm going to give it a try. And it's opening up and communicating with your clients like, okay, I've never done this before, but I'm going to give it a try. And when you do that, they trust in you even more. And even if it's a complete failure, it's okay. They still trust in you and they're going to come back. So to me, that's where the confidence and building it up comes from. And I think that's hard. I never knew that confidence was going to be the number one thing that somebody would put on a post like that.
Mm-hmm. Confidence is a huge thing. There's so many nail techs that I've run into. They're like, I can't do that. And I'm like, have you even tried? And no, I just know that I can't do it. And I'm like, how do you know you can't do it if you don't try? So I am always like the one that's like, no, you guys try it yourself first. If you can't do it, then that's fine. But take that effort and take that initiative to try, because you never know what you're going to accomplish if you don't try. I mean, you got to put yourself out there. And even if it is something as simple as my client wants a flower drawn on her nails, try it first. You never know. It could be something that you're like, oh my gosh, I really like how it looks.
Well, I would say the bigger question is, do you want to do it? Like, if you want to do it, then nothing will stop you from doing it. So that would be like the number one question that I would ask is, well, do you want to do it? Mm-hmm. And if they say yes, well, fantastic. Let's find a solution to make this happen. Let's bend it and let's figure it out and make it work for you. But if you don't want it, then let it go. Like, focus on what you do want. That will build your confidence. Why focus on something that you don't want that's going to, break you down and tear your confidence? Like that, that doesn't make any sense. So focus on what you do want and then find the solution to get whatever that looks like.
I think along with that too is like a lot of techs, like working in and out of salons and being around a lot. I mean, the salons I've worked in, we've had at least 10 nail techs, at least. Like that's the least amount. Is they're not willing to try it because they don't feel like that they can accomplish it. And when it comes down to it, it's every time somebody brings in a new picture, they're like, well, how do you even do this? Like, how do you start? And so then they question it the first second that they see, this Pinterest picture. And it's like, okay, take a step back, relax, and actually look at it. And then they're like, oh, okay, and then they get it. But it's that fear of I'm not going to be able to do what's in this picture kicks in. And it's like, no, just take a step back and breathe, look at it. And that's the biggest advice that I can say is just take a breath, look at it, look and see how it is, and then decide whether or not you can do it or you feel like you can do it. I always say try it.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt to try it, because then that, if you try it and you don't succeed, well, what's the saying? Try again. It's a rule to live by. Just try again.
Yeah. And when people bring in a picture like that and then throw it at you and it's all of a sudden this like, oh my goodness, what do I have to do? It's your job as a communicator, as when they schedule, you do a consultation. And in the consultation, even if they've been a client, they're rescheduling their appointment that they're at your table. You've already done their nails. You're rescheduling their next appointment. Do you have something in mind that you want for your next appointment? Let them show you in advance so that you can put it on a tip. Then you can try it again. By the time they come in, you've tried it twice, 3, 4 times to perfect it a little bit more. Then you can message them prior to their appointment and say, I've given it a try. I just don't know how to do this. I've contacted my mentors, which are in my nail group, Tech Talk Worldwide, and I've posted the picture and asked for advice. I'm willing to give it a try, but I'm not going to be able to do it by your next nail appointment. And be honest with them, communicate your way through.
And I think honesty is the best. Like if you feel your ability, and I've had to say that, like I've had someone come and ask me to do a 4D rose, and I'm like, I apologize. My skill level is not there, and I don't feel comfortable doing that on your nail. However, I can do X, Y, Z. And the thing that I've done with to build my confidence in my nail art is that when people bring me Pinterest, it's like, thank you for the inspiration. It's not going to look anything like this, but it's going to be inspired by it. And I'm going to change it up and I'm going to do something. I mean, Kim did something just the other day. She had posted something last week, and my client, I have pictures of just nails, of random nails, just as inspiration, because they come in and I don't know what I want. And so I had them look, and they're like, oh my gosh, I love that. And I'm like, well, that's fantastic. Like, it's not going to look anything like that. However, thank you for the inspiration. No. And let's put my spin on it, because I'm Barb. I'm not Kim.
Exactly.
So, and so customers, they want that. They're coming to you for a reason. They're coming. They're not coming to Kim. They're coming to Barb. So they want Barb flavor on that nail.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So own your unique style, own your unique skill, and go for it, because your customers are coming to you for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like, your customers come to you for a reason, and I think a lot of it too is your personality and how you present yourself. I mean, trust and believe, in my 15 years, I have done some really crap nails. Like, They come back and I'm like I'm going, I cannot believe that I let you even walk out of the salon. Like, I am so sorry, like full on apologetic, but it's like a lot of it is, when you do have the self-confidence in yourself, it draws people to you. And so when they're drawn to you, it's like, oh, I can put up with a crooked nail for 3 weeks because maybe she had an off day, and it makes you a real person in their eyes instead of as a couple of the girls in the salon. That's exactly my nickname is a robot at the salon because they're like, you can do everything. And I'm like, I really can't, you guys. I just practice. Like, I take the time and just practice.
Yeah. And don't you know that once our clients trust us, it's the beginning part of the definition of confidence is the trust in someone else. When they trust us, you're right. It is okay if we make a mistake or it's not perfect. They still want you. They still choose you. And I agree when the client comes back and you look at the nails and you're like, oh, my lines weren't really the straightest. And they're like, I thought they were great. So sometimes our confidence broke itself. They were fine with it. Us, we were the ones that were like, upset with it. So it's kind of funny too on that.
Yeah, the art is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, that's one thing.
Exactly.
That's one thing I learned. I mean, I was told way back when, probably a good 10 years ago, that I was not a good artist, that I was not a nail artist. And it broke my spirit there for a bit because it was like, oh my gosh, I can never ever do art because here I'm looking up to this mentor and she's telling me that I'm not a good nail artist, that I was very amateurish. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And it took me a long time to like break through that. However, I had to, I had support, I had coaches, I had other mentors that were very positive and uplifting and showed me that, art is eye of the beholder. And I may not be able to do landscapes and 3D art or 4D art. However, what I do really, really good is abstract and colors and glitter. Of course, lots and lots of glitter. So, I mean, that's what I do very well. And so who do I, clients that I attract are going to like those things because that's what I have confidence in. So you're going to attract what you have confidence in.
Absolutely.
I roomed with Katie Barnes. In fact, I get a room with her again next week. Or this week, I'm super excited. And one of the things about Katie, she's an international competitor. And so I kind of, picked her brain a little bit and it was like, what does it take for you to do these competitions? And she said, you know what, Amy, I recreate that same nail every single day for like a year, the repetition that I was talking about. And that was the first time that I really saw what it took. Every time I've competed, I was just a salon tech. And then here I'm going to a competition trying to do a salon type of nail. Of course, I was set up for failure from the beginning. I didn't have a plan. I wasn't practicing. I wasn't figuring out that particular design every single day. Another thing that we have to look at too is I was talking with Kirsty Meakin one time and I said, what is it that you do? Like, how many clients do you do a day? And she was like, one. And I was like, one client? And she goes, for everything that I do, and it's a full set every time, I do one client a day because what I do takes 4 to 5 hours. And we have people bringing us pictures that expect that to be done in an hour and a half because they saw it on YouTube and in YouTube and fast forward, it showed that they did it in 45 minutes. But really they did not. The quality is in there. And so if it takes us longer to do that service, communicate with your client, the technique that's used to do this. And with my skill set, it's going to be 2 hours, 2.5 hours or whatever, and then be able to mark off that time so that you can deliver that and then absorb when they say they like it. Do not have, I'm the worst. People will say, oh my gosh, Amy, you look so cute. I love your glasses. And I'm like, oh, good. They're from Dollar Tree. And look, if you look real close, they're broken right here. I make fault in whatever the compliment is. And they really are broken. I'm not joking. And so when it comes down to that, why at some point in time do we not just say, thank you for recognizing that? I appreciate that, and then stop it, zip it, absorb it for a moment, and don't let that inner voice say anything different. Go on to the next topic.
Yeah, it's called the art of receiving.
It's hard. It's actually very hard for me. I have to tell myself all the time, zip it. That's what I tell myself. Just zip it, absorb it, and zip it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just smile and nod and say thank you.
You were talking about earlier, Amy, is like, practicing and taking action. I think taking action helps to conquer fear as well. As soon as you're holding on to fear and you're not doing nothing about it, fear will fester. It will just create this stressful panic attack. But as soon as you start taking action, even if it's little tiny baby steps, eventually you're going to conquer that fear and it's going to go away. And so I have this saying, I have these little trigger of images in my mind. And when I get scared, I think of the bull, a big, huge, scary bull with big old horns, and it's coming at me, and I'm fearful. And then I grab the horn, grab the bull by the horns, and I ride fear all the way to the finish line.
You have to. You have to. I find it's hard, I think, for a lot of newer techs coming into salons, especially with techs that have been doing it for years, and I'm like the most like, here, I'm your mom and I'm going to take care of you and you're under my wing. And like, we have a new girl, and it's only because like I can see the huge potential in her. Like I look at her and I'm like, okay, like you're doing good for being out of school for, I think she's been out of school for like 5 or 6 months, maybe longer. But I'll be sitting there at my desk doing nails, and I look over at her and I just drop everything and I just walk over and I'm like, hey, hold on, let me show you an easier way. And she goes, oh, okay. And it just like kind of boosts her up a little bit to where it's like, I have somebody, one, that has the confidence in me, so then it puts the confidence in her. Right. And I think that that's a lot of where we have lack of in the industry, is everybody's so, I'm going to compare myself to this person because I feel like I'm better. Well, no, we're all good in our own ways. We have our own things that we can specialize in, or we do good. No one's going to be the same. We all have different mindsets. We have different techniques. We have different ways of doing things. And that's okay, because I'm sorry, like, I don't look like Amy. I don't act like Amy. I don't talk like Amy. I don't look like Barbara, talk like Barbara, act like Barbara, or anything. Because again, we're individuals and we are our own person.
Yep. We're the same and different.
Could you imagine if we were all the same? How boring would that be?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And that's just it right there, is that your confidence comes from within. But I think a lot of us nowadays are, and in Utah, it's been pretty hard, is that there's so many nail techs that used to be so cutthroat with each other. And now it's changed a lot. It's gotten a lot better to where everybody is willing to help everybody. But before, it was like, no, I don't care. She can fail. And that's not okay for me. Like, I was never that way, nor will I ever be that way. Like, if I can't do nails, then you sure as hell, you're going to see me doing something to where I can help somebody to get that confidence and gain the confidence that they need to do what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. When you were talking about, comparing yourself to others and stuff, we just can't do it. We cannot compare apples to apples of what they offer in a service. I tell people, if you're worried about why they're doing a $25 fill and you do a $45 fill, then go there and get a fill.
Right.
Go there, be their customer, get the fill. Do you feel that while you were there, that they were respectful of you, that they were on time, that they did you quality work, and that they gave you everything that you wanted? Because if so, then yeah, maybe you need to look at your timing and your pricing or whatever. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to go there and you're going to realize that what you have to offer is a step up. You guys know I did a tech talk with Nellie Neal a couple weeks ago, and he has a $2,500 pedicure on his menu. And he said he just realized that at some point in time in his career, you have to go for the stars. What would be the one ultimate thing? The baseline of it is the pedicure is pretty much the same as all the other spa pedicures, but it's the rest of it. It's him. It's the ambiance. It's what else he has to offer with that the people pay it, and he has sold it.
Yep.
And it's just that confidence that he was like, this is my end goal. This is what I want. This is what I want when I go somewhere. So he has like secret shopped his other places, and he says, nobody has ever given me a pedicure like what I give. It's the same steps, maybe the same product, but the ambiance and everything else is not the same. That's what sets you apart from everybody else. And so when you start getting broken because you're comparing yourself down to the street for pricing or their services or their timing or whatever, go experience it. And then look at yourself and look in your salon and say, but this is what I have, and absorb that, implement it, act on it, as Barbara says, and make that plan. And then you're going to realize those people chose you and chose to spend more because of you. And
when
you.
When I had my salon, I was in a retail space, and there was 5 nail salons in my little block, like in my little 4 corners. There's 5 of us, and I was one of the 5. And so there's other nail techs all over. I mean, there was probably a good 15 nail techs just on that corner. You know what I mean? So I built a very successful business just being me, just offering quality service that I offer, and being consistent. You know, there's no such thing as perfect. Like, I think practice makes consistent. And when you're consistent and customers can trust they're getting the same quality every single time, they're going to pay for it.
Yes,
absolutely. But it's funny that you say that, Barbara, because so where my salon's located at, we've got 2 buildings there. It's like a strip mall, and there's 2 buildings. We actually have a salon that's up the street from it, like up in the next building. We have 12 nail techs at our salon alone. And I believe they've got 4 or 5. We have a salon around the corner that I used to work at. There's a salon across the street. There's another one right down the street, and another one all within a mile radius. There's at least 5 or 6. And so, yeah, you know, that can be competition, which is fine. But you know what? Bring yourself out and let people see you. And it doesn't matter. They'll come.
Yeah.
They will come. There's more than enough. And I think that's also confidence, is knowing without a doubt, without any wavering whatsoever, that there's more than enough to go around.
Yes.
And if you have that mindset,
just like what you guys are saying. Of course, I've been in 2 towns where I own the salon and 7 full-time techs, and we all work together as a team and all that. But now I'm alone in a home studio that's built off of my home. And to be able to come to get your nails done, you have to drive a half an hour here and a half an hour back. I have no competition around me. I have one little tiny studio where she does like pedicures and haircuts and stuff like that. It doesn't matter if you have 5 hair or nail salons all the way around you, or if they have to drive to get what they want. When they trust you and you are willing to listen to them and make the appointment about them, I have clients that come that far for a French manicure. It's not the art.
No.
I was shocked. I'm like, you have 25 salons in your town, and you leave and drive this far for a French manicure? Like,
because there's no Amy 25 miles away.
So it blows my mind. And so I didn't think I'd be able to build a clientele out here. My confidence was very low, I can tell you. I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to advertise this? Because where I'm at, I mean, all we have is a little post office box place. We don't even get mail delivered to our house. And that's where I used it. And then when I was in town, I just slowly, the word got around really fast, and used social media. And, with confidence, I think because we're in our private groups like this, and we can open up and somebody can post, my client wants this on their nails next time they come. sometimes there's a watermark on it and you can get a hold of the tech that actually did the design,
Yep.
find what they used and all of that. And maybe they'll be a good mentor and they'll actually share with you the steps of doing it. But I think that the community that we've created online has what's helped. It's helped us advertise when we live in a small town like I have. It helps us have an online portfolio where we have our business page with the work that we've done with our prices. And then it helps us unite with each other where we can get the skill set that we need, whether it's paid for or sometimes free. So I think that helps a lot with the confidence compared to what we used to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Julia just asked, how do you handle those that demean and degrade your person and your work? Okay, right now I'm going to tell you, adios.
Bye.
I actually have had an incident of this happening, and it wasn't directed towards me. It was actually directed towards others in the salon. I was fresh. I think it was my first or second year into doing nails. The client, she was, I'm going to call her a hoity-toity rich snob, okay? Because that's the nicest way I can put it. She would come in the salon every single time, get her nails done. And she was fine with my work and with me, but she would always tell me, why do you work in a salon that's this low class? You have way better class than this. You need to move to the east side. And I'm like, okay, but I live on the west side, so I'm okay. Like, this is my peeps. Well, it got to the point where she started, just being really mean and nasty towards other employees. And in the middle of her service, I literally had primered her and was getting ready to put her gel on. And that whole 15-20 minutes, she just kept going and kept going. And I dropped my files, dropped everything, and I said, get out of my chair and get out now. I will not put up with you. I will not have anybody like that in my chair. And everybody needs to do the same. If they make you feel horrible or they make you feel like where you're at is not good enough, that's not okay. And they need to be out of your chair and not allowed back in that salon. Plain and simple.
That goes back to knowing without a doubt, unwaveringly, there's more than enough. When you are willing to put up with someone that's going to belittle you, degrade you, put you down, or put others down, that's actually going to prevent other business for you. So you get rid of that one person, that one negative person, I guarantee you 3 more will come in that will replace that energy, because that energy was so toxic, it actually pushed away people. So yes, there's more than enough. You don't have to put up with that.
It's always interesting to me too that sometimes we'll accept that client. So the client keeps coming back. They keep making us feel that way. So I've stopped and I've asked people when they come in and they're so negative, and I'm one that always tries to let them see the light in it. Well, did you look at it this way? Did you, so I then become this therapist, and then, or they'll complain about the nail or they'll complain about something. I'm like, why are you here? Why do you keep coming back to me? Because I feel like I'm not pleasing you. I'm not saying you're insatiable. I think that there's a nail tech out there for you, but you keep coming back to my chair and paying me. What is it? And you know what it is? I'm listening.
Right.
Yep.
It's not the nails. I'm just listening to them and nobody else is listening to them. And they can probably get better nails somewhere, but they're not getting listened to. So I tell them, I'm no longer going to listen to you, because I can't absorb this. I can't have this. So I want to keep you as a client. You've chosen me because you keep coming back. So obviously, but we can't have these same conversations. And I don't know that you realize that you coming back and telling me the same thing every single time is hurting me. And you have to just tell them that. And then to just say, I think that there's a better nail tech out there for you. There's a better fit for you. And they're either going to change their attitude, or you are going to have to step up and just say, I can't do this. I don't have another appointment available for you.
It's also
it's just
know your worth and know that it's okay. Again, that goes right back to confidence, that you are worthy and deserving to have positive people that are going to support you and lift you up. You can set those healthy boundaries. There's nothing wrong with setting healthy boundaries.
Yes. Yeah.
No, not at all. And you just have to remember that this is the biggest thing that I learned years ago is when you are talking or when you're talking to somebody just face to face, you don't take on their energy, you don't take on who they are. But when you're physically touching somebody, and so we touch people all the time because we are grabbing their hands. Your energy and their energy flows back and forth to each other. And when that happens, you take on what what's going on. So when you have somebody who's negative or who is constantly just degrading everybody around them, you're going to take that on, and then that's going to make you yourself feel like, ew, this is stupid. Like, why am I even doing this? And is that worth it? Is that worth it to take it home?
Yeah.
It's not.
And I teach energy, built energy protection. And that's what I had to do, is learn how to recreate literally a positive bubble. And again, I have this picture in my mind, and we see things in pictures. We don't see words. So my positive bubble is like super glittery gold and silver, and it actually keeps in the positive. And I put it around my desk. I put it around my home. I even put it around my kids. Now, this is all mental and it sounds crazy, but it actually works because we're all energy. I can actually feel energy without even touching people. Like, I can feel that energy. And if it feels negative, I'm going the other way. Like, I don't want nothing to do with it. And I put this energy bubble around me going through airports, and it protects me. I am happy and joyful and in a good mood all the time because I have my bubble, my glittery bubble, to protect me. And it's just physically something that you have to do. And when you're touching people, you're going to take on that energy as well. But if you put that glittery bubble around you, it's really going to help. And the people that are toxic, like really negative toxic, they're going to feel that positive energy and they're not going to like it because they're going to know that they can't penetrate it. So, and they'll go away. Like, it's amazing how it works. Like, they'll just go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have a question, and I laugh at this because it just thinks it totally is something that I've had to deal with again. It says, how do you deal with clients who talk about or buy expensive clothing or items but want a penny pinch or not pay your worth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your worth. let me just say, when you get somebody in your chair that is talking about buying all these high-priced items, I'm going to tell you one thing and one thing only. They ain't buying them. Like, here's my attitude coming out about that, because they ain't buying them because they're trying to make themselves feel better towards you. They want to put this impression that, like, oh, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this. Okay, in reality, guarantee you, if they come in with a Louis Vuitton purse, guess what? It's probably fake. Like, it's reality of it. Like, I'm sorry, like, it just is what it is. And I don't mean to sound kind of rude about it, but if they're not willing to pay you for their nails, then I guarantee you they ain't willing to pay for those clothing or those shoes or anything else. And if they don't want to pay for your nails, tell them bye. It's not worth it. It's not worth the fight. It's not worth the hassle.
And they keep coming back, so they might be complaining, but they're still coming back. So charge your worth. Like, don't allow someone else's, belittle or their value or their worth, how they see themselves. You take it on as your worth because that's their crap. Don't take it on. Again, put that bubble around you and keep that crap away.
Mm-hmm. Those same people that brag that they have those purses and those shoes and stuff like that, they're going to find the nail tech that they get to brag on. Like, well, I go to the nail tech that's in Beverly Hills. I go to the nail, because they're bragging about everything else. Right. So they're going to find the tech they get to brag about as well. So I agree with you. If they're sitting in your chair, they're there for a reason. Yeah. And if they're bragging about everything else like that and they're complaining about your pricing, I've had that before, which has been interesting because my most wealthiest clients have never complained. And it's funny that they'll do the simplest things and they pay me the most.
Yeah.
And they have the money. The ones that don't have the money that come in with all this stuff and brag about it all this time are the ones, yes, exactly. Like what Kim said, it's just a presence for them. And they're going to find the tech that we're like, well, you know, I go to the nail tech that just won, you know, the I don't know, the Nail Pro Cup. You know, they're going to make sure that they have that bragging right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just how they want people to see them. And when you don't fall into it and you don't buy into it, it stops. Like, I mean, like I laugh at people who are like, I'm buying me a Louis Vuitton, and I'm like, good for you. I'd rather go on vacation. Like, I'm a smart aleck when it comes to those kind of things. Like, but again, if you knew me personal life, it wouldn't even, like, you'd probably look and go, oh God, Kim, how many times are we going to do this now? Because I literally am that big of a smart aleck. Like, I don't care. Yeah. Like, it is what it is.
I'm the one that I would never spend the money on a Louis Vuitton. In fact, when it says LV on it, I'd rather have it say AM, which would be my own initials rather than somebody else's, so that I'm going to customize it and make it my own.
Yeah, my son's friend, he has a job with Park and Rec, and he's a cute kid. He's like 22-ish. And he come in and he bought a Gucci bag, and it was like literally like this big, and it looked like a purse to me, but they're calling it something else, a man satchel or whatever. But he spent $500 on that, and I'm like, sucker, they saw you coming.
Oh yeah, no. $500 would get me a nice hotel in Park City for the weekend.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we covered a lot when it comes to confidence and not comparing. And, we're trying to keep these to around 30 to 45 minutes. And we are definitely at our 45-minute part. So I just, want to just reiterate again. One, if you're watching this on replay and you have a question, please tag our name where it highlights it so it shows up in our notifications so that we can answer it for you. If not, I know Barbara as well as Kim, you can private message us and we can, help you, answer a question like that. We appreciate so much that you come on and be active in the tech talks and in our coffee talks. And if you have any topics that you want us to touch on, please let us know as well. It's amazing to me, like I said, when I put that one post up, that confidence was the one thing that most people wanted. And I had never had dealt with that. And so it was an eye-opener for me as well. And so I think it's a good hot topic to have. And I know that there's lots of scenarios that we're going to have in the salon and in our personal life where we're going to have to deal with that. But ultimately, we have this inner voice. And if you look up the definition of dignity is your self-worth. And even people at their absolute lowest that have lost everything due to flooding, trauma, death, whatever, there's that inner voice that says, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. And that inner voice, that dignity, slowly builds your confidence. You're going to start surrounding your people, build a community around you, or like you said, your golden bubble. You're going to start realizing that who you allowed inside your head and the verbiage and that you allow inside your heart, you're going to start knocking off and saying goodbye to those others, and you're going to welcome the other ones, and you're going to find that naturally that confidence is going to be built back up. Sometimes it takes us rebuilding our clientele slowly, and it's hard because it's financial, but one by one, start flicking those people off of your book. You have no more room for them. And like you said, there's an abundance out there, Barbara, and they're going to come. There is, absolutely. So thank you guys for joining in. Any last thoughts that you want to put out there?
I'm going to be at Nail Camp East, and I'm doing one-on-one coaching at a huge discounted price. So feel free to hit me up if you're at Nail Camp East.
Yes, I'm going to be there as well. I'm a keynote speaker and then teaching. Kim, I know the timing wasn't right for you, but girl, you're going to be very
horrible. Yeah, it was bad timing, but I will follow you guys in Facebook land.
Yeah. Well, I'll message you. I'll Marco Polo you every day that we're there.
Oh yes, every day. That's all right. I'll take it.
Yes, absolutely. And another thing with confidence comes education. And I think it's important to be able to sign up, even if it's just for one thing, whether it's online or in person, to be able to build the education, to build the confidence into the shape, structure, the longevity, the prep for natural nails, for pedicures, whatever it is that you want to specialize in, even if it's the marketing side of it. There's educators and there's mentors, there's Facebook groups, there's all of that out there. And that does help a lot. For me, it's helped a lot as well. So here's our final quote for today, okay? The only time that you fall is when you're blinded or you're running too fast. So have a plan, slow down, make your list of how you're going to do it, do your repetition, do your practice, and you will realize that you will not have that fall, you will not have that fear. So there you go for today. So thank you, Barbara, for coming on last minute as a special guest.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Kim, I always love talking to you anytime, all the time. You're my polar opposite, but I always agree with you. I love how we can see things from opposite ends, and you help me have more confidence. You help me be stronger and be able to say the bye-byes. And so I thank you for
Felicia.
yes, that's what we call the Bye Felicia. And so thank you for being.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being you and staying strong in who you are as well. And Barbara, I'll see you on Thursday.
See you on Thursday.
All right, you guys, thanks for joining Coffee Talk. And we'll see you next month. We'll get it posted in the event section. As you guys will know, everything that we do from, everything that we do from Tech Talks, which actually I have a Tech Talk in another hour. I'll be live again with Talia Sanders. You guys know her because you followed her YouTube, I'm quite sure, or you've been on our Facebook. So we have a Tech Talk today. And then everything's always posted in the events section of our group. If you click going, it will send you a reminder a day before and an hour before, as well as when it's live, it says they're live at this time. But you have to click the going button. I'm not saying that Facebook is foolproof because sometimes it just doesn't. But majority of the time, if you go to the events, you click going, it will send you the reminder for that. And then you'll see everything that we have in our event section. So thank you guys.
Facebook's a jerk. Just remember that.
But we're thankful for it. Bye.
Okay.
Have a great day.
See you guys later.